Hello, everyone. My name is Carrie. My guest today is a conduit for energy healing, spiritual way shower and mentor. Her sole purpose and mission is to help her clients realign to their true potential by guiding them to stand in their power in their own perfect way. Welcome, Louise Matson. So happy to have you here.
It's lovely to be with you today. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, my pleasure. So Louise's work is totally right up my street. As you can see, I'm so excited to have her here. So she helps us to remember that we came here to thrive, not to struggle and strive, which so many of us think that. And for me, certainly for decades. So let's get on with the show. Tell us, Louise, when did you start asking the big questions like, what is the meaning of life? What am I here for? What was happening in your life at that time? Take us through your awakening journey, please.
Well, I mean, for those who have followed my work will be aware that I came in conscious. I came in knowing who we are. And so at a very early age, I was very aware that my energy was very different to the people that were around me. And I imagine that there's quite a number of people out there with similar experiences, that they come in with a sense that they are somewhat different to the families that they may have landed in, that they are somewhat different in terms of their vibration, their it's hard to describe. There's just this deep sense of knowing. So when I came in very early on, I kind of landed energetically in this space that felt very heavy around me. And I didn't feel comfortable. And the family that I was born into was not in any way connected to energy healing or spiritual awareness or anything. You know, they were very much Methodist, Church of England religion. My dad was in the Air Force, so it was very, very conventional lifestyle. And so growing up, it was very challenging for me just to exist in that energetic space where I didn't fit in. I literally felt like I'd been swapped at birth. Looking out the window, looking at the stars, thinking, when are they going to come and get me back? You know, who's going to come pick me up? Because, you know, this was a mistake. I've obviously been dropped off at the wrong place and I want to go back. And so I shut everything down at a very early age, around about kind of 3, 4, 5 years of age. And I consciously put it in a box because it wasn't safe, because I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel accepted in my family. I felt completely out of place. And it was a real struggle just to exist in this world. And like you say, we didn't come here to exist. We didn't come here to survive this incarnation experience. We actually came here to thrive, to experience whatever we came to experience, but we really came here to be all that we are, and to bring that to this space. And I'm sure many other people will kind of feel a similar need to have dimmed their light, hidden who they are, suppressed their truth. You know, this conversation will ultimately be about personal truth, and to fit in. And that's exactly what I did. And so my life has been a process of many different opportunities, many different occasions where spirit was like, are you going to be yourself now? Are you going to come out? Are you going to own your truth? And I would kind of dip my toe in, and then something would feel a little bit too overwhelming, or the energetic space around me still wasn't right. And I would back off again and go, nope, too much. And so it was this kind of push me, pull me journey where I was constantly being called, constantly stepping into it, and then having a freak out moment and completely turning off again. And the main aspect that kind of drove that stepping back, pulling back, was my desire to be loved by my parents, which I would be placing my hands on people and taking their pain away, because I'm clairsentient, and that was clairsentience, and claircognizance is feeling and knowing.
Right.
And I had those very strongly, and so I would know things that I couldn't know about people, and then I would feel their pain, and so I would place my hands on them to take their pain away, and I would just fill myself up with other people's pain, and then I would have to go into nature and hold a tree and ask the tree to take it, or a rock or something. But I was told very early on, and I couldn't say how young I was, that if I didn't stop being who I was and behaving in that way, I was going to be taken away and locked up and put in a mental asylum. And so that was my biggest fear, and that is what shut me down completely. So I shut down my ability to see the unseen, and to receive the messages, because I basically thought that's completely unsafe. If I'm going to survive, if I'm going to exist in this world, these things can't be seen, they can't come to the fore. Now, I would have said that I managed to lock all of that down and exist very normally. It was hard work, and it took a lot of work for me to be normal.
I was gonna say, you conform, and you went to have a pretty successful career in corporate, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. But it took a lot of energy, and it took a lot of effort, and that is something that I will say to anybody listening in the audience. We came here to thrive. We came here to really enjoy life. But most of our energy is being absorbed by trying to conform and fit into something that we're not. And so we don't have that energy to put towards the things that would actually fill our hearts with joy and bring us that sense of real achievement and passion and everything, all of those things that we consider thriving to be. We're actually directing the majority of our energy in a completely polarized opposite position and place. And so it's important to kind of just take a step back and just to look at, where are you placing your energy? Because most of my energy throughout my early years and teenage years and in my 20s was being what everybody else wanted me to be. And that's where the beautiful thing of, I thought I'd locked all my gifts in a box. And I was really proud that I had put my woo-woo in a box, locked it away, so no one could see it. But I was using it all the time, because for me to give everybody what they wanted from me, I was using my innate gifts that we've all come in with to read people, to connect into their energy field and find out exactly what they wanted from me so that I could give it. But that takes an awful lot of energy, because you're literally tuning in to everything around you and trying to fit in with what that wants, rather than just being who you are, standing in your truth and being your truth, which in essence is so much easier and takes far less effort.
So when was there a crisis point? Was there a pivotal moment that you can recall, that where you took a leap of faith, like you say, I'm done with it?
Yeah. So when we're pretending to be that which we're not, it becomes harder and harder and harder, until...
Tell me about it.
It can result in mental health issues. It can result in physical illness. It can result in a bereavement or something, because the universe, you as your universal self, wants you to shift, wants you to be all that you are, because that's what you came here to do. And so it's constantly giving you these opportunities. But if you keep going, no, it's just going to build up into a big thing. And that's why we do get these enormous pivotal moments of like, oh my God, this huge thing happened. So in my soul contract, I have it that, I've learned things the hard way. And I also have a lot of 9 energy, which is all about power, you know, allowing yourself to stand in your power. But first I had to experience disempowerment.
Got it. Yes.
I was in a place where I hated my job. I was completely belittled, put down by my employer. I was doing a job that I didn't want to do, didn't enjoy doing, but just to bring money in, because
gosh, that sounds so familiar. Yes.
And I felt like, you know, the hamster wheel of this outer reality says, you know, you've got to provide and you've got to have security and you've got to, you know, your children need certain things. And so there I was doing a job I hated for somebody who was completely disempowering me and not acknowledging me at all, just to bring the money in, to put food on the table, a roof over our heads and everything like this. I was also in an abusive relationship.
Oh dear.
And life just seemed like complete hell. And I ended up, because you know, the universe gave me ample opportunity to step out of all of these different scenarios, but I was too fearful of losing what I had and stepping into the unknown and being myself, and, you know, stepping out of the abusive relationship, stepping out of the job I hated, and, you know, actually considering what it was that I wanted to do. That was far too fearful. So it got to this crux point where I was getting ready to go to work. I literally put my foot on the top step of the stairs, and the next thing was everything went in slow motion and I was falling down the stairs head first.
Oh.
And my neck hyperextended, and the next thing I remember was being at the bottom of the stairs.
Oh my gosh! But we don't have to go through that, people.
No, only if you choose to ignore all the little nudges that the universal self.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, in fairness, though, everybody will have their own example. It may not be quite so extreme. I ended up being tetraplegic for a week.
Wow.
But it may not need to be that extreme. It may just be an accident that you know, you break a leg, or you have something that puts you out of action for a period of time. This is like a timeout that the universe is saying.
How do they even begin? What questions can they ask themselves?
Well, that's the first thing. Ask yourself questions, because I kid you not, we don't do that. We don't consider, what do we want? Who am I? What do I like? You know, how if I had a blank sheet of paper and if I could erase everything, you know, like COVID did, it gave us that massive timeout. I know people will see this and go, what are you talking about? But I saw COVID as a golden opportunity, because it gave everybody a massive timeout to step out of their normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill, get on that hamster wheel and just go moment, and actually pause. Now, some people have taken that opportunity and some people wouldn't have, and that would have been where they were at. But it's actually stepping back, dropping from your head, where all of the chitter chatter, all of the must, have tos, shoulds, and everything else attached to all of these belief systems that we've been trained and entrained and programmed to live by, where all of that resides, drop from there into your heart. And that in itself may be quite challenging for some people, to come out of their heads and into their hearts, because the whole Western culture is all around the head. It's all around the intellect. It hierarchies the intellect above feelings. So that shift in itself could be huge for some people. And once you drop into your heart, ask yourself questions. I asked myself 1,000,001 questions because I realized I'd never asked myself anything, because I wasn't interested in what I needed. I wasn't interested in what I wanted, because my main focus was making sure everybody out there was okay so that I could be okay. It's a paradox, because you know, we kind of say, okay, well, if everybody else is happy, I can be as miserable as anything. But what are you actually teaching your children? You're teaching them that. You're not teaching them to be happy. You're teaching them to make other people happy so that they can be miserable.
Oh my gosh, that is so true. I haven't seen it that way. Yeah. Yeah.
Because remember, everything is energy. Everything is energy. And I'll give an example. How many people have met up with a friend or a colleague at work? And we do this all the time. We say, how are you? How was your weekend? And the person goes, yeah, great. Yeah, I'm fine. And their whole energy field is screaming all of the pain and the sadness and the fears and everything. And you can feel they're not. But what's coming out their mouth is, yeah, I'm fine, everything's great. And they may even have a smile on their face, but it's fake, it's a mask. So, you know, our children, when we're children, we're a sponge and we're soaking up everything. We're soaking up not just the seen, not just the heard, but all of the unseen. You know, I mean, if you put it into scientific terms, you know, I think it's something like 95% of communication is non-verbal. So, you know, we think that we're doing a good job and I've done it myself with, you know, I've got a son, but we think we're doing a good job, but actually what we're teaching them is what we've experienced. So look at your life, really radically, honestly look at your life and ask yourself, are you happy? Am I happy with this? Because whatever you're in, that's what you're teaching your children. You're teaching your children to be another example of that. Now, you may think, oh, you know, I'm giving my children everything and I've got nothing, but that's what they're seeing. They're seeing, oh, I give other people everything, but I get to have nothing.
Yeah. I think intellectually they get it when you explain it this way. But once they get into this day-to-day routine, they slip into the same old pattern.
Yeah, we're addicted to something, but that's part and parcel of the human aspect of the existence. But that comes from, you know, where do addictions come from? Addictions come from us trying to give ourselves love in a certain way because we're not allowing ourselves to fully receive it. Whether it's shopping, whether it's alcohol, whether it's food, whether it's sex. We're trying to fill a hole that we feel is inside ourselves with something.
Feels good temporarily.
Absolutely. I mean, it's quick fix. It's a quick fix to kind of, you know, pacify that bit that is wanting love, and love looks that way. Love looks like having a cupboard full of shoes. Love looks like the brand new fancy car on the driveway. Love looks like this chocolate cake in front of me. But it's superficial. That's conditional love. That's not unconditional love. And we are at our core unconditional love and divine light. And so because we've forgotten that, and we've never been taught that as children, and society doesn't teach us that. In fact, it teaches us the absolute opposite, because it wants to keep you on that hamster wheel, feeling that you're broken. We've lost that connection with our truth, which is unconditional love and divine light. So part of the work that I do is energy work. You know, where did this stuff come from that fills our head, that fills the rest of our energy field? Because you're not just this physical body. The energetic signatures from past lives, the contracts, promises, agreements, and commands and decrees that we've placed within our field that have dictated, we have a divine blueprint. But because of everything that's gone in previous lifetimes, and, you know, the baggage basically that we're still holding on to, that imprints energetically on the divine blueprint. There's nobody on this planet that's walked in with a clear blueprint. We've all walked in with some imprint on top overlaid. And this is how, you know, spirit shows me it as these distorted programs. So take, for example, the distortion of the service soul. Being a service soul is beautiful. We're all service souls because we're all connected. We're all part of the all that is. We're all here to be of service. But we get this distorted aspect of service, which means I'm here to make sure everybody's okay, everyone else is happy, and it doesn't matter about me. And the beautiful adage for that is put your oxygen mask on first. You know, before you help someone else, nourish, nurture this, nurture you, love you, provide for you. And that means exploring what it is that gives you nurturance, what it is that gives you nourishment. So partly it's the energy work to clear and strip out everything that is filling the field with stuff that isn't yours. Because another aspect is we're sponges as children, but we're energetic sponges all the time. And in essence, you know, what Spirit is saying is energetically, we're still children. You know, this process of awakening, if you like, this process of spiritual growth or ascension is us growing up and actually recognizing the truth of who and what we are as a spiritual energetic being having a human experience, not the other way around.
Amen. Yes.
Going beyond that. So my role is to do the energy work, to clear out all of the rubbish and the baggage and everything that's still open, connecting us to past experiences, clearing out all the contracts and all of these distorted overlays, regardless of what they are, and really clearing the energy field. And so what people can do to help themselves is to start acknowledging who they truly are as a spiritual being, an energetic being, having a human experience.
That we don't die, isn't it, Louise?
Yeah, I mean, you know, this physical body changes, the form changes, but the essence of who we are is eternal. Energy is not created nor destroyed. Energy just changes shape and form. And we are energy as consciousness. But, you know, the basics are cleanse your field, recognize yourself as wider than this physical body. And don't allow yourself to be a walking sponge, picking up the energy of everyone and everything as you engage with the external reality, the world around us. And, you know, when you are taking sovereignty, you know, it's because my work is very much moving people from disempowerment, whatever state of disempowerment they're in, into standing in their sovereignty, in their power, which is standing in your truth, being the living representation of what your truth is. And to do that, it means claiming sovereignty of this wider energetic field, you know, and that means what resonates with me, what doesn't, knowing yourself. So the first part is know thyself fully as an energy body and say, no, you know, I am not allowing any low vibrational energies, entities, thought forms, emotions, anything that is lowering my field of light to enter my field. So that's already boundaries, you know. Yes, we're moving into unity, but we're not there yet. You know, and until this wider external landscape is also resonating at the frequency of divine love and light, then it is about boundaries. Knowing thyself. Where do I start and stop? What's my energy? What's my stuff to deal with? And what have I just picked up randomly from that person I've stood next to in the supermarket, or the friend that I had a chat with over coffee? And then clearing your field of everything that is pulling your energy down and centering in your central column of light that runs through the very core of you, that holds what people call the chakras, the energy centers. and creates the torus field that is your wider energetic incarnated body.
Which reminds me, I was going to ask you, how important is to build in meditation in daily, that is happening around us? How important do you think that is even today?
It's important, but again, we're shifting from a vibration, and I don't know if your audience is aware, but when I came in the 60s, I was a high vibe person, and I came in to an earth vibration of about 7 to 8 hertz. And so it was like, whoa, what have I landed in?
Heavy.
And a lot of people will recognize that sensation. Now, as we've collectively been doing the work and individually been doing the work to, you know, meditate and to connect in whatever way, shape or form, it may be through religious practices, it may be through spiritual practices, it may just be working with the earth, you know, really kind of grounding in working with the earth's energy. But we've been clearing our fields, we've been centering, we've been dropping into our heart, coming out of the head. Whether people have been consciously aware that that's what they're doing or not, collectively we've got to a place where actually the earth's frequency has shifted, it's raised. And so, you know, this is what this service thing is as well. We think we think service soul means to help everybody else on their journeys, but it doesn't. Being a service soul is sort your own house out. And in sorting your house out, you raise your frequency. And if each individual person did that, the collective frequency would raise. And as you raise your frequency, you then radiate out that higher frequency of divine love and light, which then impacts like a domino effect on everyone else. So this has happened, and the earth's frequency has risen, and we can see that through the Schumann resonance and the massive spikes. I mean, it gets up to like beyond 100 hertz. And I don't know what our average is, but it's way more than 7 to 8 hertz. So we're in a different energetic environment around us. So we call what we had as the old paradigm, as it were. It was the way things were within that frequency of 7 to 8 hertz. And that involved people sitting very quietly, very still to come. Well, we were actually going up and out to connect into, you know, the higher aspects of our consciousness. But now it's about embodying. So the meditation process has shifted and changed. I don't sit in what people would describe as meditation. I used to, you know, I've done the whole lotus position, I've done yoga every morning, I've done chanting, I've done all of that. It's allowing yourself again to be in your truth. What does meditation feel like to you? Because what it is coming out of your head and into your heart space and allowing yourself to expand in the wider consciousness of who you are and connect into the wider aspect, you know, the aspect that isn't in the physical form at the minute. Now, I can connect in when I'm cleaning the bathroom, when I'm doing the dishes. For a lot of people, they may feel that connection when they're out in nature on a dog walk. It may be playing with your grandchildren. Children are fantastic. Animals are great. They hold that high frequency. So meditation doesn't have to look a certain way, but it's a state of being. Oh. Haru adormia dar casada monotari shatri sania dragaurudra haramait otsukaniatarudra shonroi tarkaratarudra shonto sorio manaya drogisodiriumana. So this is about allowing your heart to open. You know, our hearts have been really closed with the experiences that we've gone through, with the needing to fit in. We've shut ourselves down. This is opening. So this meditation practice, that, well, you can call it meditation or not, it is being present with yourself, but it's opening your heart consciously. allowing your heart to open consciously. And again, you can do that in 1,000,001 different ways, but it's finding the way that is yours, not listening to somebody else's way and saying, oh, I have to sit cross-legged for 20 minutes each day, or I have to have a morning practice. Well, yours might be an evening practice. You know, it's shifting away from comparing yourself to another and being in your personal truth. This is your personal practice. This is you personally connecting with your higher aspect, which ultimately goes all the way up to the Mother, Father, God source that you are, the universe that you are, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. It's all the same thing.
I like that. No more prescription, no more rigidity. I like that.